Well folks, we are back once again with the 6th build out of 10 in my Special Projects 10 car selection for February at least, while we wait for Polyphony to add whatever stuff they are or aren't going to add this month. And of course, on this occasion we are basing it on the Subaru 22B to begin with, but then the car itself is one which some of you might not be familiar with. It is more obscure as far as aftermarket tuners go, never been featured in Gran Turismo. Tommy Kaira of course has, but not this car, the M20b. Based, of course, on the Subaru Impreza. I was calling it the Impreza for a while. I've heard, and even online, if you look it up, that seems to be a kind of British pronunciation of it, but it seems that more people call it Impreza, so I'm just going to go with Impreza, which is what I used to call it anyway. So this is based on the 22B. As I said, you could, technically it would probably be more accurate to base it on the Type R, but the 22B looks more like the M20B. You've got a cooler car to work with, so it's down to you. Plus, the livery was already done for this one. And we actually have a special guest, because on this particular car, the designer is Ty. And for those of you who don't know, Ty actually won the PS5 raffle that I did in December. So very special guest there, and congrats once again to him. Hope he's enjoying the PS5. So as far as the tuning parts, it's a fairly simple build to do, and in an interesting twist, with some of the other tunes that I've done, such as the recent Mine Skyline from this same pack, those are often based on like Gran Turismo 6 numbers. On this occasion though, I'm actually basing it on the dark side, because this was featured in Forza Motorsport 2. So we're using those numbers as a comparison, which is 350 horsepower, 1440 kilos. Pretty nice numbers, very easy to attain as well. And again, you want it to have a high performance but road-based vibe to it. So for the silencers, you will notice I've bought a couple of different ones. The only reason why I did that was to both compare the power, the sound, and the look. So you don't need to buy them all, just buy the racing one. So you can ignore that. We've got the sports pads though, the sports filter. I've left it on sports hard tyres because again, you want it to have that road car vibe. For the club sports section, you want the clutch and the brakes. For the power restrictor, you don't need it, but it's always nice to have it. It is cheap at the end of the day, and the ballast is fitted as well. For the semi-race, you want your ECU, the crank, once again ignore the exhaust there, the fully customised LSD, or limited slip diff. As far as the racing stuff, you do want that silencer, like I said, the fully customised suspension, and the torque vectoring centre diff, and then as far as extreme, there is nothing there fitted at all. So it's quite a cheap build. Getting the car will be more what could take some time if you haven't already got one, because if I recall correctly, I think it's a used market car that comes around every so often, I think it was. So if we jump then into the settings, as far as the visuals, of course, you can use the link down below, as I said earlier, to add it to your library. You will need the wide body kit for it, though, for this particular car. So, of course, sports hards are on there already. As far as the suspension, it's not particularly low. It looks low because of the skirt kit, but about 140 is, as you can see, pretty much halfway for this particular car. We've got 5 on anti-roll, 36 for the compression on the dampers, 44 for the rebound, 2.25 for the frequency, so also not crazy high, only 1 degree of camber. At the end of the day, it's a 22B. It's not like it needs a huge amount of camber anyway. As far as the tow, it's towed in 10 on the rear, towed out 5 on the front, just for that extra bit of stability. As far as the diff, I've gone for 10, then 40, then 30, and a 50-50 split. Feel free to change those, but give it a try, see what you think. I would describe the handling on this one as being a little more twitchy over the front end than you might expect, but actually in a good way. It's really precise, and the turn-in is so sharp that especially for like really tight Tokyo-style city circuits, it's really, really precise and very manoeuvrable, which isn't surprising at all for a 22B because it's a road-going WRC car, so of course it is. The nitrous, of course, wasn't fitted, likewise with the gearbox. The power restrictor isn't touched, ECU isn't touched either. You do want some ballast though, at least to bring it up to that weight of Forza 2, which is 170 kilos, and then I've put that 30% toward the back, just to make it more of a 55-45 split, which, as I recall, is the split that car has in the game. So with the downforce, if you do fit the design that Ty did, I've got the downforce set lower on the front, and then the rear you can't adjust, because it's not like the downforce is particularly important for this car anyway, it's more of a visual package. And then as far as all of these, you can see what I have and haven't fitted anyway, as we just ran through. So the only thing that remains, of course, is to jump out to the track to briefly discuss what the car can do in practice. Now, Being a 22B, it would be kind of hard to make it not a very quick car. It's already quick, it's already a great car, already probably the single most legendary Impreza of all time, and this one just takes it even further, both in real life and in the game. It's one of those cars which, as I spoke about probably years ago at this point in my review of it, in Forza 2, one of the most obscure choices of aftermarket car in any racing game I've seen. But a really cool one at the same time. It's not the quickest thing around, but it's quicker than you could easily assume it would be. It's got a really nice visual package to it. I'm actually a huge fan of what Tommy Kaira does to their cars. The Skyline, the Tommy Kaira R, I believe it's called, based on the R34, also in Forza, was a really badass car. And of course, Tommy Kaira has a legendary representation in Gran Turismo in the form of the ZZ2, one of the best supercars of the whole franchise. So if you do decide to use it, I hope you have a ton of fun with it. If it's a car that you guys are not as familiar with, you might want to look into it online because it's a pretty badass car. And of course, if you do decide to use it for fun, for a particular event, I mean, it's only 537 points, so you really do have a lot of performance to work with at that level. Then of course, have a ton of fun with it, check out the other builds that I've already done, and be sure to stick around for the rest coming up this week. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.